Have you ever gone for a routine health check, felt totally fine, and then the doctor suddenly says there's protein in your urine? Sounds weird, right? Because you're probably thinking, wait, protein is supposed to be in muscle shakes, not pee. But here's the thing. When protein starts leaking into your urine, it's often one of the earliest warning signs that your kidneys are struggling, even before you feel any pain or symptoms. And the scary part? Most people ignore it because it doesn't hurt, it doesn't burn, and there are no obvious signs. But silently, your kidneys are crying for help. So what exactly is proteinuria? In simple words, it's when your kidneys fail to filter your blood properly, allowing protein, especially one called albumin, to slip out into your urine. Think of your kidneys like a coffee filter. If the filter is perfect, only the coffee drips through, not the coffee powder. But if the filter gets a hole, the powder slips in. That's proteinuria. Tiny holes forming in your kidney filters called nephrons. And even though it sounds small, it's a huge deal because if it goes on for too long, it leads to chronic kidney disease and, in severe cases, kidney failure and dialysis. But here's the good news. Food choices can actually make a massive difference. The right foods can protect your kidneys, but the wrong ones, sometimes even the so-called healthy ones, can make things worse. Now let's be real. Shopping for groceries when you have kidney issues or proteinuria is not fun. Every label feels like a puzzle. Low sodium, no phosphorus additives, potassium levels, hidden sugars, fake marketing claims. Some foods scream healthy on the front label but hide ingredients that silently attack your kidneys on the back. And it's not your fault. Most nutrition advice online is made for normal people or weight loss, not for someone trying to protect their kidneys. That's why you'll hear things like eat more low-fat dairy or drink diet soda instead of regular soda, and people with kidney issues follow it, believing it's good. But what if I told you some of those choices are doing more harm than good? Let's start with a food that almost everyone thinks is innocent. Low-fat dairy. You might think low-fat equals healthy, right? But here's the twist. When companies remove fat from milk or yogurt, they also remove something natural called the milk-fat globule membrane, which actually has anti-inflammatory benefits. And to make it taste better, they often add sugar. More sugar means higher insulin spikes, more inflammation, and more pressure on your kidneys. Studies are pretty shocking too. A 2024 study showed that people who consumed full-fat dairy actually had a 24% lower risk of chronic kidney disease compared to people who strictly consumed low-fat versions. Why? Because full-fat dairy keeps you full longer, so you don't overeat sugary snacks, and it maintains those natural protective fats that reduce inflammation. But wait. Does that mean you can go and start drinking creamy milkshakes daily? Not really. Both full-fat and low-fat dairy still contain protein, potassium, and phosphorus, which means too much can overload weak kidneys. So the trick is small amounts, and only if your doctor says it's okay. But dairy isn't the only surprise. The next culprit is something you might be drinking when you're trying to be healthy. Diet soda. No sugar, 0 calories, seems like a good choice. But inside that bottle are artificial sweeteners like sucralose or aspartame. And these sweeteners can mess with your gut bacteria, make your body confused about sugar, and increase the risk of something called metabolic syndrome. Basically a combo of belly fat, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and bad cholesterol. All of that is a disaster for your kidneys. In fact, one study found that people who drank diet soda regularly had a 52% higher chance of developing kidney disease compared to those who didn't. And both diet and regular soda contain phosphoric acid. This phosphate gets absorbed super fast into your blood, and your kidneys have to work overtime to remove it. Over time, they just get tired. So if low-fat dairy and diet sodas are already causing this much hidden chaos, what about the rest of the foods we consider harmless or even healthy? This is where it gets tricky, because some of these foods are praised on fitness blogs, promoted by influencers, and even sold in the organic section. But for someone dealing with proteinuria or early-stage kidney problems, they can act like silent troublemakers. And the worst part, most people don't even realise what's happening until their lab reports start showing rising creatinine, high blood pressure, swelling in the ankles, or foamy urine that looks like soap bubbles. That's your body saying, hey, something you're doing isn't right. Let's talk about another common trap, high-protein snacks, especially processed plant-based proteins. Now, don't get me wrong, plant-based diets can be amazing, but some processed versions like protein chips, fake meats, and pre-packed vegan burgers are loaded with additives, sodium, and phosphorus preservatives. These phosphates are different from natural phosphorus found in foods like beans or nuts. Artificial phosphates are absorbed almost completely by the body, up to 90%, while natural ones are absorbed only around 40 to 60%. That means these additives quickly build up in the blood and leave your kidneys with extra work. If you've ever seen ingredients like phosphate and pyrophosphate or hexametaphosphate on a packet, that's what I'm talking about. And guess where these are commonly used? Flavoured chips, instant noodles, processed meat alternatives, and even some so-called healthy protein bars. Then comes another sneaky one. Store-bought canned soups, pickles and sauces. They taste awesome and feel convenient, especially when you're tired and just want a quick meal. But convenience often hides a massive salt problem. Too much sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, increases blood pressure, and puts heavy pressure on the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys. These vessels are fragile, and over time, high salt acts like slow poison. Even things labelled as low sodium can still be too high for someone with kidney issues. Doctors usually recommend staying under 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day if your kidneys are weak. To give you an idea, just one packet of instant ramen or a frozen pizza can give you more than half of that in one meal. And if you think switching to sea salt or Himalayan pink salt solves it, sorry, but salt is still salt. It may have trace minerals, but it still affects blood pressure the same way. Some people argue, but it's natural. Well, poison ivy is natural too, but you're not going to rub it on your skin, right? The point is, natural doesn't always mean safe for your kidneys. Now let's talk about something many people are proud of, smoothies and green juices. They're healthy, right? Packed with vitamins, antioxidants, and all that good stuff social media hypes up. But here's the catch. If you have proteinuria or reduced kidney function, your body can struggle with too much potassium. Foods like bananas, spinach, beets, mangoes, and avocados are great for most people, but they're super high in potassium. In healthy kidneys, extra potassium gets filtered out, no big deal. But if your filtration system is damaged, high potassium levels can stay in your blood and lead to muscle weakness, irregular heartbeats, or even cardiac arrest in extreme cases. I know that sounds dramatic, but it's real. Doctors even sometimes tell patients to soak potassium-rich veggies or double boil them to reduce the levels before eating. So by now, you're probably wondering, if so many healthy foods can be risky, then what can you actually eat without stressing every time you step into a grocery store? Don't worry. In the next part, we'll shift from what harms your kidneys to what actually helps them heal, lower protein leakage, and protect you long term. There are foods that science genuinely supports, not just trending diet advice. All right, so now that we've cleared the confusion about what could silently be harming your kidneys, let's flip the story. What can actually help your kidneys relax, reduce protein leakage, and maybe even slow down early kidney damage? Trust me, it's not about eating bland food or surviving on boring boiled vegetables. It's about being smart, using real science, and choosing foods that actually support your body instead of fighting against it. The first hero food group I want to talk about might surprise you. Cruciferous vegetables like cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. But here's the twist. Most people either overcook them or eat them raw, missing the real benefit. When cabbage is lightly cooked or finely chopped, it activates a compound called sulforaphane. Sounds like a superhero name, right? Well, in a way it is. Sulforaphane helps reduce inflammation inside the blood vessels of the kidneys, improves how cells repair damage, and may even protect the nephrons, those tiny filters that are leaking protein. Researchers have found that people who regularly include cruciferous vegetables in small controlled portions tend to have lower inflammation markers and better kidney outcomes over time. But moderation is key. Don't go drinking gallons of cabbage juice or something crazy. Just a simple stir-fry soup or cabbage wrap a few times a week is enough. The next powerful kidney-friendly food is berries, especially blueberries and cranberries. These are low in potassium compared to bananas or mangoes, yet they're packed with antioxidants. Blueberries, for example, contain anthocyanins, which protect kidney cells from oxidative stress. Cranberries, on the other hand, help prevent urinary tract infections, which is important because infections can worsen kidney damage. Frozen or fresh, both are fine. Just stay away from sugary jams or juices pretending to be real fruit. And then comes something most people ignore: healthy fats, especially omega-3s. Foods like flax seeds, chia seeds, and fatty fish like salmon or sardines, if your doctor says it's okay for your protein stage, can seriously reduce inflammation in the body. Omega-3s also help lower blood pressure and protect the heart. And since your kidneys and heart are like best friends, taking care of one always helps the other. There was even a study that showed people with early kidney problems who added omega-3s to their diet had lower levels of protein in their urine over time. Again, balance is everything. You don't need to swallow spoonfuls of fish oil. Just sprinkling some ground flaxseed on oatmeal or having grilled salmon instead of fried chicken makes a difference. Another food worth mentioning is olive oil, especially extra virgin. It's not just a cooking oil, it's anti-inflammatory, helps regulate cholesterol, and is gentle on the kidneys because it doesn't overload your body with sodium, sugar, or chemicals. Switching from vegetable oils or margarine to olive oil is a small change that gives your kidneys less stress to deal with. And if you're looking for a bonus food that most people don't even think about, garlic. Fresh garlic contains allicin, a compound that may reduce blood pressure, control cholesterol, and offer antimicrobial effects. But here's a fun hack. Crush the garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking. That waiting time allows allicin to fully develop. So let's bring this all together. Proteinuria might sound scary, but it's basically your body's early alarm system saying, hey, take care of me now before things get worse. And the good part is you don't need to panic or follow extreme diets. You just need to be aware. Avoid the silent offenders like diet sodas, overly processed plant proteins, sugary, low-fat dairy and high-sodium instant foods, and instead add real whole foods like cabbage, berries, omega-3 sources, garlic and good fats that help your kidneys heal, not hurt. But before you go and change everything overnight, please remember, this is not personalised medical advice. Everyone's kidneys lab results and health conditions are different, so talk to a nephrologist or a renal dietitian before making any major changes. Use this information as a guide, not a prescription. If you learned something today that made you rethink your food choices, you're already on the right path. Drop a comment, ask your questions, or share a food you were surprised to find out is good or bad for kidneys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Take care of your kidneys now, and they'll take care of you for life. You've got this.